Biggest boss Ricky Rose just got word. Meech concert not happening tonight, but 305 is going down at the office. Meet us there. Bam! February 13th, the big Meech on the big concert. It's gonna be iconic. Too many names the list, but let me salute some of the legends. Lil Baby, Boss Man D-Lo, 21 Savage, Sexy Red, Ricky Rose. Now, this the first time it's ever been done. Might be wild when I stood next to Meech. Your knees buckle. Your knees buckle. Put your back against the...
Big Meech is out here calling out Rick Ross for leaving him in a tough spot after making him grand promises. Let's be honest, Meech is more than just annoyed, he's furious. When Meech teamed up with Ross, it wasn't solely about the music. Rick Ross had a clear agenda. He came in boasting about big plans, assuring Meech of a new show, loftier budget, and even a grand concert. To celebrate his return, it all sounded fantastic at the time, but now Ross seems to have vanished. Rick Ross failed to deliver on any of his commitments, and now he's in a state of panic. And truthfully, he has every reason to worry, because if there's one thing we know about Big Meech, it's that he does not take betrayal lightly. To add fuel to the fire, 50 Cent has been relentless in his jabs ever since Meech partnered with Rick Ross. As soon as Big Meech connected with Rick Ross for the Welcome Home concert, 50 rushed to Instagram and started roasting. Initially, Ross had grand plans for Meech. When he got out of prison, he was promoting this huge Welcome Home concert that was meant to be a major event. Big Meech was even promised a share of the ticket sales, which would have been quite a payday. But here's the catch: that concert never took place. At the last moment, everything was called off. And why, you ask? Federal agents allegedly swooped in with letters to cancel everything. It's when the rumors began circulating. Let's be real, who else could have that kind of influence? Many are speculating that 50 Cent was the one pulling the strings behind the scenes. If this is true, it suggests he did it just to settle the score with Rick Ross. Now 50 hasn't admitted to having a hand in it, but he certainly had plenty to say when Boozy Bedaz discussed the matter during a Vlad TV interview. 50 jumped onto Instagram to mock the entire situation. He posted, "Hey, I'm just asking for a friend. Does this mean the show's not going to go on?" He wrote, "Pure disrespect."
2-3 hours, like, I'm at the Louis store. I'm like, what the I could have saved this bitch $5,000.
And let's not overlook the fact that 50 foresaw this situation. He predicted it would be shut down before it even occurred, and then quickly distanced himself from any involvement, as if he wasn't sitting back and laughing about it all. But the worst part, when everything crumbled and Big Meech was struggling, Rick Ross did nothing to help. He simply lingered in the background, waiting to exploit Meech as a tool to settle scores with 50. Recently, 50 Cent shared a picture of Tamians, who has been accused of as a federal informant. To add to the intrigue, he unveiled some supposed text messages exchanged between him and Tammy. In these messages, 50 directly asked her if Meech was aware that she was collaborating with the authorities while he was incarcerated. What was her response? She elaborated further on the situation. 50 wrote, "Tammy Cowan, the truth and nothing but the truth, coming soon, it's worth." Noting that just last week he was already targeting Meech, making snitching accusations, he boldly stated, "Listen to the words, big screech, you keep forgetting that you told Tammy Cowans to get your time cut, sucker." And he made sure to tag all his brands. That's classic 50 Cent. And it's not only him. Blue Da Vinci and Puffy have also stepped forward, asserting that Big Meech played a role in their incarceration. They claim he used Tammy Cowan as an informant. So this whole big screech narrative isn't merely a baseless rumor that 50 conjured up for attention. Industry insiders have been discussing this for some time now. It seems there could be much more to the story than Meech is willing to acknowledge.
He's saying, how did Meech have information on you and give it to Tammy so you could get caught up in it? How did that happen? So that means you got to go back to the movies. Right, that's that. Well, Meech and Tammy was trying to get Suarez.
Exactly. But when the government found out she was in contact with me, they switched the investigation toward me.
50 also pulled Lil Meech into the situation. Prior to all this upheaval, 50 Cent had actually been supporting Lil Meech. He made substantial investments, including funding his acting lessons, preparing him for his part in the BMF series, and managing his business dealings. Do you recall when rumors surfaced about Lil Meech facing substance abuse challenges? 50 took it upon himself to send him to rehab and pay for it. That illustrates the strength of their bond.
I'm watching movies. I'm like, man, acting must just be reading lines off of paper, like something like this. And when I get there, like, hey, don't look at the paper. Imagine your mom and dad in the casket right now.
But then Big Meech changed allegiance, and as soon as he started getting close with Rick Ross, 50 cut ties with everyone involved, and he's making it clear. He flat out announced that he's ending the BMF series, which is basically where Lil Meech earns his income. Now both Meech and his son are facing financial troubles. To make matters worse, 50 has been quite petty with all the promotions. Whenever he shares anything about BMF, he's been blurring and altering Lil Meech's face, almost as if he's trying to erase him after the Welcome Home concert fell through. Rick Ross didn't stay quiet either. Instead of simply conceding, Rick started making more claims, this time saying he plans to create his own BMF series, and not just any series, but one that will have a larger budget than 50 Cent's.
Yeah. So look, I do want to do a BMF film because you've been entertained by a lackluster, small budget series. Now it's time to do a big budget film.
That was meant to be Big Meech's last chance. If Ross had actually followed through, Meech could have made a significant profit. But just like everything else Ross pledged, that show never materialized. It was all just talk. What's even more frustrating is that 50C holds the rights to the Black Mafia family narrative for TV and film. This means Ross couldn't legally pursue this project without having to involve him, so all that boasting it was for nothing. In the meantime, Meech remains without money. 50 continues to mock him online, and to make matters worse, Rick Ross hasn't lifted a finger to back Big Meech. He was very vocal when it came to using Meech's name to get at 50, but now that the situation is tightening up, he's gone silent. And let's be honest, this is precisely why 50 Cent has always ridiculed Rick Ross. For years, 50 has claimed that Ross only mentions him to keep himself in the spotlight. Whenever Ross wants to trend, he has to bring up 50's name. At this stage, it's quite evident Ross hopped on the BMF trend just to retaliate against 50.
What happened? Outside of mentioning me. When things get bad, you mention me. It gets covered.
Recently, Rick Ross unexpectedly reignited his feud with 50 Cent by mentioning the late mother of his rival. In an Instagram story clip, Ross boasted about being the only person to ever truly get to 50 Cent.
I didn't know that they say I was the only person that flagged 50 Cent up. I ain't know that. I'm gonna be honest. Tony Yayo told 50 Cent himself, y'all can...
He also involved Tony Yayo, asserting that he had previously warned 50 about his missteps. Ross didn't hold back, mocking Yayo and Uncle Murder for looking old and suggesting they needed some skin care treatments. Naturally, Tony Yayo replied, mentioning that he's accustomed to being dragged into 50's disputes due to their strong friendship and loyalty.
Tony Yayo said, I wouldn't do that if I was, because Tony Yayo know the niggas ain't got no money. Come on, man, look at Tony Yayo and Auntie that. Them in his knee fat.
Let's face it, Yayo has always remained faithful to 50, showcasing true loyalty that Ross seems to resent. But Ross didn't stop there. After crossing a line, he switched tactics and began mocking 50 Cent's business endeavors. This time he criticized the Gunit Studios project in Louisiana, alleging that 50 couldn't finish it because he's broke and the banks won't give him loans anymore.
You struggling making that G-Unit film studio out there in Louisiana where that cheapest land at. You thought you was gonna be able to do it. You thought you was gonna be able to get them loans, and it ain't. What's wrong? What's taking so...
50 Cent clearly wasn't going to allow Rick Ross to go unchallenged. He directly mocked Ross for making a guest appearance on the Millennium Tour. Boo Wow and Amaran are co-headlining with Trey Songz, Guzzi Bada's Plies, and the Yin Yang Twins also in the mix. And Ross sees a special guest right alongside Ray J, Bobby V, and Pleasure Peak. Most people view this lineup as a fun reminder of the 2000s, but for 50 Cent it signals something much more significant. He believes it shows that Rick Ross isn't the heavyweight he pretends to be. Let's face it, it's absurd for a so-called rap mogul to be listed below Bow Wow. Ultimately, this entire drama unfolded because Rick Ross couldn't stop mentioning 50 Cent. However, the one who truly suffered, Big Meech, during the real BMF era, Meech was merciless. If you owed him anything, he would come to get it now. There are rumors suggesting that Rick Ross is feeling the heat privately. Supposedly, Ross is aware that at any given moment, Big Meech and actual BMF associates could confront him, whether it happens directly or through others. Someone will demand explanations, and if that occurs, let's just say Ross might find himself in over his head.
Take the bad along with the good and show us crew know how to be men, then this what you get. Everybody shining like new money. There ain't no other crew like this in the world, and never will be enough.
So after everything that's happened, a major question still lingers. What's the next step? Is Rick Ross genuinely feeling anxious with Big Meech potentially coming after him? Did he take on more than he can manage by trying to play both sides? And do you believe 50 Cent will ever let this issue fade away? Or is this just the beginning for him? I want to hear your opinions on this situation. So please share your thoughts in the comments below. Also, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications to stay updated on the latest developments in this